They say if you're in space, no one can hear you scream. Well, they're actually testing that theory. Scientists are actually looking through this, and they've actually set up a website. It says at the Cambridge University Spaceflight, if you go to the site, let's see here. I had the site listed here. I'll have it in the show notes at the end of the show. But they want to get at least 10 people that have a really good scream for at least 10 seconds, and they're going to place it on an Android phone, and they're going to shoot off a small micro satellite, and they're going to play the sound and see if it can be heard through the microphone. I believe that's what they're going to do. You know what's interesting about this? People will say, if you put something and I've seen this test done when I was in school and in the science lab, you put a bell jar over, say, an alarm clock or something, and you could hear the bells ringing, ding. Then you pump out all the air, and the bells stop because there's no air to carry the sound waves. In space, though, while there is no air technically in space, sound can travel through a vacuum, sort of, because if they did a test many years ago called the Big Ear, and what they did was they were listening for the sounds wherever they came from, and what happened was they were able to pick up sounds from the universe actually cooling off, and these are actual sounds that are audible. So if they are actually sounds being picked up, maybe sounds can be carried through space like that. Joe, your thoughts?
All the science stuff is mad cool and interesting, but the article says they have to use an Android phone for this experiment because Android phones feature a microphone and a speaker.
Yeah.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't all phones have a microphone and a speaker?
Well, I don't know. It must be that those other cell phones out there, they have you plug into your brain and you use your psychic powers to speak.
Yeah. That's why I had the 32-pin port attached to the back of my head.
Well, I got mine right back. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. The experiment does sound interesting. It'll be interesting to see if the microphone will pick up the recorded scream. But I was under the impression, and maybe Wayne can help us with this, that solar wind makes a natural whooshing, staticky noise in space.
No, that's interesting.
At least around the Earth. So how will the microphone differentiate between the screaming Android phone and the just natural sound of what it is up there?
Now that's an interesting thought. Also I was just thinking now, if the microphone is actually vibrating that's in there, will the microphone pick that up as well? Because there's no other noise in space except for that. Well, it will pick up the vibration. I don't know if they're a variable for that or not.
The positive result for this experiment is also the microphone will shut off the satellite's microprocessor.
Mm-hmm.
So if any noise is detected, whether it's the scream or not, will it still shut off the microprocessor? So that they can get a false positive from this.
Yeah, that's very possible. Wayne, your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the whole point of this is that they really want to try and control the satellite with an Android phone, and that's really that's all they really want.
It's all about the Android phone.
It's all about the phone.
Yeah, because the Android, we know just from old stories the power of the computer that was used to go to the moon is less than your phone, and we know that these phones are very, very powerful computers compared to even space shuttle technology.
Oh, yeah.
So the idea is that here's these devices which are really, really pliable. I mean, you can do a lot with an Android phone, put apps on it, do all kinds of crazy things. Let's use that as a computer that we can use to control these nano satellites. These are really just micro satellites. And while we're doing it, let's just do this little fun experiment to get people involved. I don't really think I think the whole point here is just to generate interest in the project, but the real project is, can we use these phones to actually be the computer for the satellite?
Oh, no, that's an interesting
If we
thought.
can do that, then we can make satellites even cheaper than we can make them now, because now we don't have to design computers especially for satellites. We just take phones and
shove them in there and hook them up.
Yeah, shove them in and then build the satellite around them.
This is, you know what they're going to do is if they're Androids, they're going to use like the Galaxy 3 or I don't know what Android phone they're going to use, but they make a great marketing commercial like, our phone went into space and it's controlling satellites. That's how,
Satellites, we have an app for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Control your own microsatellite with that. And
there are some apps that are out there that are like that now, where you can do some sort of control a space telescope or control telescopes on Earth with an app, and so everything's getting connected, and pretty soon they'll put all these satellites up there, and they'll all be internet connected too.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
People will be able to get the real-time information, the experimental information from the satellite.
There's only one thing there. I do not want to see the billing for that off the cell phone bill that comes from that.
Yeah.
Michael,
I've got a roaming charge.
Yeah, the roaming charge on that's got to be enormous. Michael, your thoughts?
Well, if they're gonna start doing like putting the phones up there, then won't if you tried to make a phone call to it or something, won't it just interrupt it? And anyway, but talking about the screaming, if like at the moment we've not met aliens, have we? So maybe if they put this, if screams can be heard up there, then maybe once the screams are heard, then the aliens will come out because it may be their way of communicating.
We're searching the galaxy for screams. We want to know which civilization is most afraid.